alleging security failures in the Parkland school massacre.
A warning: if there are children in the room, the content here may be disturbing.
Well, with all the screeching recently about Vladimir Putin and Russia and treason.
By the deadline is a couple of days before the debate. Are you concerned about that?
No. Jimmy, my emails are so boring.
We came, we saw, he died.
I don't want to see him impeached. I want to see him in prison.
On this Memorial Day, as our nation honors its unbroken line of fallen heroes, and I see many of them in the audience here today.
We understand that a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. We don't know anything more than that.
I tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person.
I'm not going to give you a question. You are fake news.
Good evening, everyone. We have quite the storm going on. You might actually be able to hear it from time to time, and we'll stay live as long as I have power. But a couple of things to go over now that I don't have Jazz working for me anymore. 3 rules, guys: no doxing, no threats of violence, no talking about anybody's family. And those are the rules. You abide by those, and yeah, you probably be able to stay. I'm not super band happy, but if you mess with those, I will release the Whack-A-Troll song on you. Just so you know. That's what's going on. So, we have a crazy stream tonight. I've been getting bugged to do Hollow Earth for God knows how long, and I got finally talked into doing it, but before I get going on that, everybody knows that a good friend of mine, Brian King, lost his mom last weekend, and he has the funeral coming up. Looks like it's going to be Sunday, October 13th. But I was asked to do this, and I am going to read her obituary. And it reads as such. Patricia E. King from Rochester, October 6, 2019, at age 60. Predeceased by her parents, William Sr. and Mary Coster. Survived by her sons, Brian and Shahana, Daryl Jr., and grandchildren, Daryl III, Vienna, Makina, I hope I pronounced that right, Brian Jr., Abigail, Phoebe, and her dearest friend, Wendy, and her husband, Brian Enman. Very beloved Long Island family and friends. Okay. If you need to, if you want to send flowers or anything like that, I do have the funeral home address. and I will post that in the notes after the stream. Guys, this funeral is costing a lot of money, guys, and Brian is having to sell almost everything he owns to pay for this. So I know I say this, and we did this on last stream too. Brian, please put your GoFundMe link in there. If you're in the stream, please put that in there so we can hopefully raise some more funds for you to pay for this. I really don't want to see you have to sell everything you own to do this. Thank you. Get that in there. Yeah, Fred, he is in upstate. Yeah. So let me go in here real quick and take a hello into the chat. I have some different stuff going on and some big plans for the screens, how they're going to change. But I'm going to stick with the TVs for a little while here until I get done what I want to get done. But let's see here. We got Sergeant got into the stream first, beat Roy out. Then we have Brian King. We have Car Salesman Bear. Sergeant, I already said Sergeant. Kyle Kavanaugh's in the house, our favorite Canuck. Sidekick Hat is here. William Worthington, good friend. Go check out his stream. Willie's Pub. You will have a blast, guaranteed every time. And we have, let's see here, Cody Bear. And David Train, I know he had to go to the movies. He stopped in really quick to say hi. Pedros, man, haven't seen you in a while. Glad you stopped in. Boulder Vaughn is in the house. DV Ken Bravo is here. Awesome. You guys get a chance too. If you haven't checked out Brian King's stream, please do so. Just sub to him. He's in the chat. See, we have Ed Hardgrove. Oh my God, that rain is coming down like crazy. And it's saucing. How's it going? Wasp of the North. You hear that, guys? That's hail. Yep, that was loud. That is hail coming down. So, wow. I don't really care too much about my truck getting a little bit of hail damage, but my wife's got a Honda Pilot. I really don't want that one to get pounded by the hail. Oh my God, I can't even speak tonight. Guys, we're a close-knit family, all of us that are in this chat, and you know, we come up with some crazy topics that we talk about. But I have to say that this topic, I use the flat earth thing because this goes along with it. And even flat earthers think that somehow the earth is flat and hollow. And I don't know. I know that we have evidence of an opening at either pole, the South Pole and the top in the North Pole. I know we have some holes in there. It's been depicted from space. We have shots from it, if you believe we've even been in space. And it's kind of preposterous, though, for some of the theories that have come out about how the Earth may in fact be hollow. Even Snowden at one point had a video up on YouTube where he talked about passageways underneath the globe, you know, and not so much hollow earth, but tunnels and things like that. Of course, that video is no longer in existence on YouTube for whatever reason. Don't know. Yeah, Brian, they're coming up with so many different theories of what this planet is. This is just another one. It's just another one. It's a bit insane. To me, it is. I might be wrong, but of course we have, you know, these aren't photographs, guys. These are just some graphics that are out there that people try to depict the holes that are at, you know, either side. These are just graphics. These are not photographs. These were created, obviously, guys. Hey, Greta. Thanks for stopping in. Thank you for the super chat. So there is some crazy theories. Like I said, this is this is the main one, and this is the one that, if you guys remember the stories of Admiral Richard E. Byrd, he was a pioneer for the Navy, and this guy flew over the poles in a plane, and he was pretty much silenced when he came back. I can't even speak tonight. I'm trying to speak around that storm banging off the windows. So he's like I said, he was a distinguished pioneer and polar explorer. He flew over the North Pole May 9th in 1926, and a lot of expeditions, many times been to Antarctica, including a flight over the South Pole on the 29th of November in 1929. So between 1946 and 1947, he carried out that large-scale operation. Everybody knows what this one, the high jump. That's what it was called. It was called Operation High Jump, which is kind of a weird name. Okay, guys, think about this. It's kind of a weird name and ironic if you're a flat earther, because the flat earthers believe there's an ice wall. Well, what do you have to do to get over an ice wall? You have to go over it, kind of like a high jump. Okay, so, and he mapped, 1,390,000 kilometers of Antarctica. Okay? And this guy, he wrote a lot of interesting things after. Okay? Now, let's see here. I want to make sure I get this right. Let's see. Admiral Byrd announced in February 1947, before his supposed trip of 2,750 kilometers through the North Pole, I would like to see the land beyond the pole. That area beyond the pole is the center of the great enigma. So that's kind of interesting. He also talked about, here's what he said about, said the land beyond the pole, that it was an enchanted continent in heaven. These are his words, okay? The land beyond the pole was an enchanted continent in heaven, a land of permanent mystery. Those are his words, guys. Now, you can say that maybe the frigid cold that this man went through in all his, exploration may have warped his brain a little bit. You could say that. Or you could say that this was misinformation strategy to hide the real truth, and no one knows what that may be. The flat earthers say he discovered the dome. He discovered the edge. The hollow earthers say he discovered a pathway into the earth. Now, it says, for geographical reasons, it is impossible to fly 2,750 kilometers beyond the North Pole or 3,700 kilometers beyond the South Pole without seeing water. It is logical to think that Vice Admiral Byrd must have flown into a huge convex cavities of the poles. Well, he wrote about flying into a cavity on both sides of the earth. He said that there was no snow. It was an opening that had creatures in it he'd never seen before. You can read about this. He wrote about this. Guys, these are just, it's hard to say whether these people were actually just, talking out their ass, or they actually saw something. I don't know. We weren't there. No one's allowed to go to Antarctica. I don't know. I have the Discord open now, and it's unmuted. So you guys, I got two other people in there right now. I know Boulder's in there. Boulder, what do you have to say about this?
About Admiral Byrd?
Yeah, Admiral Byrd and some of the stuff he came out with.
I think he's one of our nation's greatest aviators in history.
This is true.
I don't necessarily discount everything that he said just because it sounds preposterous or is beyond our understanding.
Well, I mean, I believe that there is something at the South Pole that's keeping everyone from being allowed to go there. Obviously, there's something. We can go up north and fly all over the North Pole. How come we can't touch Antarctica? That's what's bothering me.
That's not even that. You can go to Antarctica. There
You
are
can't explore, though.
Public places. Explore the continent? No, not without research, grants, or university attachment.
And even then, they're
Most of
really
those
picky
are-
about how far you can go.
Yeah, they take you from McMurdo Base in a helicopter to a isolated canyon where you do your samples and, as a scientist, and then they fly you right back. They don't really take you all over the continent.
Yeah. Brian King just said something that I talked about earlier in the Discord. He said it's impossible for the Earth to be hollow. The Earth would collapse on itself. And that's true from the centrifugal force. Yeah, because, I mean, it would. I mean, unless something is going on there that we don't know. And look, I'm gonna post something crazy up. Now, there are actually people that believe this. And you have to understand, I mean, this is as far-fetched as I can get. I mean, this is from a website, and I'll post this stuff after. There are people that believe that the Earth is actually inside of itself, and the universe that we see is in the middle of it, and that the Earth is actually monstrously huge. One side is the Earth, and then the other side is the universe. And that's what we're seeing. They're saying that we live in hollow Earth. There are people that actually believe this. And I have the picture up on the screen that the universe is within the Earth. And we're actually inside a planet.
That's not making a lot of sense.
I know it doesn't. It doesn't. But then again, half the stuff we hear doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, compared to this, flat Earth sounds reasonable. And that's how crazy it is. I'm not a flat earther by any stretch of the imagination. Not even close.
Well, the theory persists 500 years after being disproven, but you got to think that other than some advanced ancient societies, most of our ancestors thought the Earth was flat. So just to get them to believe that the Earth was spherical, it was a hundreds of year process. Okay, when Christopher Columbus and Magellan and Vespucci sailed, they thought they were falling off.
Yeah they
and
did.
When they got to America, they just didn't think they had fallen off yet. They still believed the Earth was flat.
Yeah,
they just didn't think they'd reached the edge of it.
No,
Magellan kept looking for it. Magellan kept looking for it. Circumnavigated the globe. Kept looking for the edge, even though he had circumnavigated the globe. So
there are so many. There are so many.
So much we don't know.
This is true. There are so many questions out there, and it's. I mean, some of it is. I mean,
well, the underground tunnels and caves that we don't know about.
Well, we know.
They just found the world's largest cave about 10 years ago in Vietnam. Until then, it was in Kentucky, Mammoth Cave, and I've been in it 10 times. So it still took 100 years just to find what we think is the entire cave system, down thousands and thousands of feet.
But we know they've tunneled a lot of stuff out down there that we're not privy to that information. We know that they have. They have underground bunkers that go down for miles. We know this because the mountains are mountains are hollowed out. For NORAD and other things like that. I mean, come on. We know that they have the ability to tunnel stuff out. So
I've been inside NORAD, and the other one that is more than likely are the tunnel system under DIA. And I can tell you why I think that. And it's not because of the lizard people secret underground alien base.
No, people say that's where the Mayans went.
It's not.
People say the Mayans disappeared. No, they didn't disappear. They went underground.
They went underground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
There's plenty of archaeological proof to prove that now that we can scuba down underneath the hundreds of feet of water that would have been dry, and they're all connected. And thousands and thousands. See, people keep saying, "Oh, the Mayans, they're 2,000 years old." No, they're before the last ice age. I'm not of the opinion that we are as young as the archaeological record suggests or pushes down our throat. Now, in that, I do think there's a conspiracy.
Yeah.
See, and the tunnels under DIA are defense industry related.
Yeah.
Because they moved Space Command out of NORAD, out of Cheyenne Mountain, because it wasn't secure. It's not secure against a nuclear threat.
No.
So they had to go underground much further.
Deeper. Yep. Okay.
And that's why they have NORAD which is about 75 miles away from DIA, far enough to survive a nuclear blast and deep enough to survive. That's where the infrastructure is.
No, I don't believe. Talking to Brian King, I don't believe we've even come close to reaching the core. No. As far as with drilling and all that and tunneling, no. But
the deepest I've heard is 19,000 feet.
Yeah, but at the same time, if you want to get into the Bible, a lot of people say that's where a lot of the Nephilim are. They're underground, and there's all kinds of rumors that secret societies and government has made contact with Nephilim and things like that. Some that still exist. We know that the Indians, when they first came here, I don't know, 4,800 years ago, said that they met a society of giants. So that was here already. So who knows?
Lovelace Cave in Nevada had remains of 7 foot tall, redheaded giants.
Well, no, it's not. No. But
look,
but the Ohio burial mounds, we've found 12 to 15 foot tall skulls. We have a newspaper from 1907 that shows a picture of a 12.5 foot tall skeleton that was found. The Smithsonian comes in. Well, the Smithsonian comes in and snags them, and then they're gone. Yeah, so if you find one, if you dig up a burial mound and you find one, don't tell anybody.
Did you also know that there is a Mexican version of the Smithsonian? In fact, there is a version of the Smithsonian in every country for this fact. This is not even the Egyptian Office of Antiquities is connected with the Smithsonian.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, like I said, they've snagged everything that shows a giant race. Everything. All the bones. When they dug up Hebrew artifacts and Indian burial mounds, they snagged those. And you're not allowed to get into the areas of the Grand Canyon where they've found Egyptian hieroglyphics, things like that. I mean, there's something out there. Why aren't they telling? This is just it. Why? What are they so afraid of? Something as simple as that. Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Because a worldwide connected civilization that predates colonialism and predates all of our countries.
Throws it off.
Country in the world. Even the ancient dynasties of China are not connected with modern China. We have these glimpses, these megalithic glimpses of advanced stone techniques and rituals and reasons, but a lot of them in the last polar shift were destroyed, and they use this as an explanation for the ice age. And the thing is, what if society was 200,000 years old and we weren't the first version of ourselves to ever leave this planet? What would that do to humanity?
Well, I mean, there's even talk in the Christian community that there was a pre-Adamite society.
Absolutely.
There's talk of this
quite a bit.
Yeah. So I think if we need to stop closing off these conversations. We really do. I mean, a lot of people don't want to talk about this stuff. That's why I like to entertain the whole flat Earth and, you know, the whole moon mission and things like that, because there's so many conspiracies about it. Let's just talk about it. I mean, the more I've talked about the moon landing, the more I start to believe it. We've actually been there. I mean, I didn't believe it for, God, 30 years of my life, 30 plus years of my life. And now I'm coming close to believing, we may be, you know, maybe we did go there. Who knows?
Do you believe in the duality of good and evil?
Well, yeah.
That if there's one, then there is the other?
Well, if you believe in the fact that you know, heaven, you know, was all perfect before the fall, Satan, when he turned on everyone. You know, if you believe that, then you say, oh, well, maybe one time there wasn't evil. Well, no, maybe evil hadn't shown its head, but the intention was.
That's my theory for the hiding of the one world civilization. They were distinct, but they were connected, and they were in peace. And I think that Judy said just a second ago, if we're divided by invisible borders as nations, then we're divided as a one humanity on this floating rock that we are on. We're on a rock, people. Whether it's got some caves or some deep tunnels, I don't know yet. But I love going looking for them.
Yeah, well, Judy is spot on. And this is and what she said here. They are hiding us from peace and love, okay? Because as long as information is hidden, there will be war to gain that information. If the information was just
leverage can be had.
Yes, well, that's what starts the hatred, and that's what starts the war, envy, jealousy, everything. If information wasn't hidden and it was just out there, do you realize the peace that would happen on this planet? I mean, think about that. Nothing hidden. Truth is right out there. No one's hiding anything. How many things would be discovered? How many facts would be discovered? How many things would be found out? How much more peace would we have? And I'm not saying it's going to be, oh, you know, kumbaya and we're all, you know, happy, happy, happy. But I'm saying there would be a lot less wars in this world if information was out there and not hidden.
Well, once you have the freedom of information, which is definitely being controlled, then you will eventually have, in the physics world, we call it free energy. And free energy is the keys to all chains of humanity.
Yeah.
That means work is over. Food, shortages, deserts, everything is over. All of the calamities of life are solved with free energy.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, our best energy source is nuclear, and we get maybe 10% back what we put in. Maybe.
Yeah.
And that's just a converted form of energy. I'm talking about 1 unit in to 1 unit out solves every single problem humanity has. And I think that the one world civilization that I'm talking about had that knowledge. They used it to leave this planet before a major devastating worldwide calamity happened, and they are the ones that are revisiting us now.
Yeah.
Sometimes they fucked up and crashed. Sorry for the cursing, dear children's ears. Not my kids. My kids have fucking heard it all. Your all's kids. That they're monitoring us as a science experiment. They're like, it's like, you know, you keep your kids under observation kind of a thing. You don't tell them where the bourbon's hiding.
Yeah. Brian King made a comment in here. He said he was at 20,000 feet plus, and not to burst anyone's bubble, it's round. Brian, I've been at 50,000 feet in a full canopy jet. Trust me, it's round. I mean, it's just, a full canopy jet does not have any distortion. Not like an airline jet, you know. So, yeah. I've seen a slight curvature. It wasn't huge curvature, but I've seen a slight curvature. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
I agree, Okie Bear.
It's round.
Sorry.
Oh, Okie Bear, but what about the Smithsonian?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we
That's one
should
building
storm
I
the
would love
Smith.
to get my hands on, and the London Museum.
Yeah, well, I've been in the Smithsonian, and I've seen the dinosaur
Not in the parts
bones.
that they want you to see.
No, not the good stuff. No, but I've been through it. Now you can't see the look. If you spent 1 minute at every exhibit in the Smithsonian, you couldn't see it in your lifetime. It's that big.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that one society, the Smithsonian Society, okay, not
Yeah.
the institution, not the government oversighted, it's the society. So that was kind of behind my real question of, do you believe in the total or the duality of good and evil? So people like to bring up the Illuminati,
Yeah.
or the Nephilim.
Yep.
Which one is on the side of good? Which one is on the side of evil?
Well, the Nephilim weren't on the side of good. I can just tell you that.
Because-
According to the Bible, they were not on the
Right,
side of good.
But then there
Yeah.
has to be an adversary against the evil of the Nephilim. Who were they? Are they still here?
Well, you kidding me? The Indians had to go to war with them because they according to legend, they were depleting the food because they were so big they could chase a buffalo down and pick it up in one arm. We're talking about 15-foot tall people with the
Well,
strength.
they were also apex predators, that meaning above us.
Well,
so we had to take them.
yeah,
out.
they had to. They had to go to
So they
war
would
with
stop
them.
eating
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, absolutely. They would eat humans. Yeah, like I said, according to even in the Bible, it says that. So,
So who were the angels on our side then?
to a certain extent, you have to understand the Watchers. The Watchers came down, and if you read throughout Genesis, it says, and it gives their names. And they said, hey, I fear that I shouldn't do. I'll be the only one that does this. So let's make a pact that we all agree to do this. And that was to mate with humans. And the offspring of that came the Nephilim. I mean, it says it very clearly in the Bible.
Even if we achieved peace on Earth, would man just make war on the moon?
Well, do you understand who taught us to make war?
Because we're going to have war.
The angels taught. The angels are the ones, according to the Bible, that taught women how to put makeup on, taught women about abortion, about how to end a pregnancy, taught the art of making steel for swords, taught the art of war to humanity. It was taught to them by the angels, the fallen angels. They're the ones that taught humanity this. We wouldn't have known about it.
Well, you said the answer right there. The fallen angels.
Well, yeah, there was some that fell and
angels
some that
before
didn't.
They were fallen, and they are on our side or
Yep.
on their own side, and we just happen to be lucky consequence of their war against the fallen angels. So we're just beneficiaries being able to live here in the middle of a war while causing war on each other.
Well, yeah, and truth be told, it wasn't like the angel. There wasn't any murder before the angels did that, because Cain did a good job of murdering, Abel with a rock. So I mean, it's not like we didn't know violent. We knew violence before the angels. The angels just made us more efficient at it. So, I mean, the angels are the ones that.
If they had fallen, is it inconceivable that they have fallen into a actual under the earth place?
Well, that's what I wanted to get at. Now, according to the Bible, they were put in the ground and then covered in a chasm in the ground. So a lot of people think that that's hollow earth and they were sealed up. People, I mean, this is, I mean, if you look at the timeline in the Bible, and then things line up with a lot of stuff, and we've talked about this before on the stream. It's like when people talk about Greek mythology, they're like, how could they make up stuff like that? And I'm like, according to the Bible, it pretty much all happened. And they're like, what do you mean? Well, I mean, think about it. Zeus came down from heaven, mated with a mortal human being, and created Hercules. Hercules with Nephilim. Zeus, they wanted to be godlike. The angels wanted to be worshipped and revered like gods. And so they did that, and they created, and they were mixing DNA. It says it in the Bible. Mixing plant with human, human with animals. So when you get minotaurs, and you get mermaids, and you get this and that, think about this. It says it in the Bible that they were mixing this stuff together. So when you look at the timeline for Greek mythology, it fits. It lines right up.
Yeah, I just think that our traditional descriptions. I mean, what's the world's oldest novel?
The Bible?
No, way before. What's the world's first story?
Everything. I mean, even Adam and Eve wrote a book.
Sure, the one that we still have, actually have evidence of, is the Epic of Gilgamesh.
Yes. Yep. You're right.
And it's about a flood.
Yeah.
So I get that. They say it's 5,000 years old, and even in college, you will learn that the carbon radio dating of carbon-14, it's nowhere near as accurate as they make it seem.
Well, okay.
Nowhere near.
How can you calibrate carbon dating unless you have something that you can verify is that old, and then you can match it up and date it accordingly to that? You have to have something to calibrate it by. They're guessing at carbon dating.
We can measure radioactive decay. That's a measurable phenomenon based on the amount of a substance. But you're correct. We're measuring it using, I would say, a tape measure, trying to measure an atom.
Yeah. Well, we
can get close.
Well, yeah, but you can measure more accurately by sedimentary rock and sedimentary ice. You can measure more accurately that way. What I mean
by close is, like, they say that carbon dating is within 1,000 or 2,000 years close, when in actuality it's within 20,000 and 200,000 years close, which in geologic time is a blip. It's a second.
Mm-hmm.
200,000 years in geologic of 4.8 billion years.
Yeah.
And that's even an approximation. Well, so if that's an approximation, then and we do have certain other astronomical standards that we can use to measure age besides radiocarbon dating, right?
Yeah.
You know that.
Well, I mean, okay, if you go by the timeline in the Bible, okay, from the time Adam left, okay, remember this, left the garden. If you go by the timeline from that, and because it's all listed from who had who and how many years went by, you come up with, 6,000 years. But how do we know we were the first humans or the first beings that he put on this planet? If you believe in God and being the creator, how do we know it's the first time he's used this planet? How do we know how long it was from the day that he finished this planet till he put Adam on it? What was a day to him? If he's God, what is a day to him?
From what I've heard is that a biblical year is way different than our understanding of a cycle, a year around the sun.
Well, a biblical year for the Jews is actually
adds
less.
Up to about 12,000 BC.
Well, a biblical, and if you go by flood data from sedimentary rocks and things like that, it puts the flood at 25,000 years ago.
Right, in the Younger Dryas.
Yeah. So, but here's the reason why I say that. The Jewish calendar is a lot different than ours. The Jewish calendar is, it's only 28 days per month, 4 weeks. There's no 30, 31 days. And what happens is every, I forget how many years it is, they go to 13 months to make up for it, kind of like we do with a leap year with February. But their months are only 28 days long.
They're doing the Jewish baker's dozen?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's never been.
It's a joke.
I know the baker's dozen. Yeah. Well, Jews and their baking. So just saying.
One for me.
And one for me. Yeah.
You're right, car salesman bear. And the Younger Dryas was 11,000 years ago, but it stretched back supposedly another 2,000 years before that. And it takes a few thousand years for the entire Earth to die. I mean, the funneling effect of a generation where you go from, let's say, the entire Earth was at 20,000 people. And then you have the major calamity. Takes a few thousand years, but now you're down to a few thousand people. And that's why there's only a certain amount of phenotypes on the entire planet, because we did have a funneling effect of our previous worldwide civilization into the one that came out of the Younger Dryas, at least in my opinion. The salesman said was that carbon-14, or I'm sorry, Brian King, the margin of error as much as 1,000 years. Well, the margin of error on the margin of error is 1,000%. So you've got anywhere from 1,000 to 100,000 year difference in the rate of decay of pure carbon-14, and we can't find that. That's the problem, is the purity of the rate of decay and the measurable effect of it. So the sample has everything to do with the result. And samples in ice cores are not as pure as people make them out to seem.
No.
Rock samples, not pure. Organic samples, not pure. So your results are obviously going to be skewed.
They're going to be, because you have moisture, rate of decay that's going to change as a result. Everything, your barometric pressures, all kinds of things change decay, which makes things, I mean, look at the things that go to the bottom of the ocean, 30,000 feet down in the deepest trenches. That stuff stays well preserved because of the cold.
Correct. I mean, it's basically locked in ice, which is a good enough, in our understanding, vault for information.
Yeah.
That we can get, let's say, arguable results from, but at least we have some to argue. See, geologists don't even agree on the sedimentary theory.
Yeah.
So, especially about the fluidity of rock, it's a common theme that when you're not in academia, when you are not a specialist like in physics or geology or engineering, that people argue between disciplines. Shit, academic physicists argue with theoretical physicists. They're like, sure, that's a nice theory. How do you prove it?
Yeah.
Now let's prove it. So my question on your decay is, that leads me to the question of Schrodinger's cat. Does anybody know this theory in the chat?
Someone?
Have you ever
Anybody?
heard this theory? Pinder?
No, I haven't heard it. I can just imagine, though.
Okay, Schrodinger theorized that if you were to put a cat in a box, okay, and you have a nuclear trigger or an atomic trigger or a decay, any molecule that decays, okay, so you know that eventually carbon-14 is going to decay. And when it decays, whether you know when that is, now let's say carbon-14 has a half-life of 500,000. Make it that's a inaccurate description, but let's just say carbon-14 has a half-life of 500,000 years. So if you stared at that cat for 500,000 years, you knew that it was going to die, because once the decay happens, it triggers the death of the cat. And this is being very simplistic, but this is the overall theory. So if you lift the lid of the box and you observe the cat, what is the likelihood that the cat is alive or dead?
Well,
you're just observing the cat. You don't know if it's alive or dead. When you're looking at the box, you put in there a live cat.
Yeah.
But the very split nanosecond that you close the lid, it could have died.
Yeah.
Or it could live to 500,000 years old. What is the likelihood of you observing the cat by lifting the lid causes its either death or it's alive? So it's always dead or it's always alive. You are the only one that changes the outcome in your observation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, because you don't know at what point the cat died, you don't, you can just, it's whatever you feel it is, isn't it?
It's the observation. You are the observer. You
I
change
understand
its
that.
position based on your observation. So let's say that after 10 years, you're like, there's no way that cat's alive. Boom, you open the box, it is. Let's say after 60,000 years, you think the cat's dead. And boom, you open it, it's alive. The fact that you theorized it was dead changed it back to alive. The fact that you theorized it was alive changed it to dead. You will never get that answer because you are the observer.
Yeah.
We don't have the absolute knowledge other than the observation of knowledge.
Well, that's how
Once we
science. Yeah,
observe
but
it,
that's
it no
science.
longer becomes absolute.
But that's science. That's why evolution will always be a theory, because you can't observe it. Science says you have to observe it happening. We can't observe it happening, so it's only a theory.
Demonstrable, repeatable results in multiple settings is still not fact.
Well, yeah. We have nothing that shows. I mean, look, we say this over and over again. A dog will be bred to be certain sizes, certain shapes, but it'll always be a dog. It's not going to someday turn into a cat. Okay, it's like
Correct,
the biggest
but
cats got bred
let's
into the
say-
tiniest little house cats that we have now.
Let's say you said Schrodinger's cat could never become a dog,
It can't.
and you lifted the box and it was a dog. Is the fact that you said it could never happen the reason it did? You can't know that. That's why the theory is so perplexing 100 years after.
But but see, I know what you're talking about, but it's conceptual unto itself and only unto itself and nothing more. Do you understand? Think
Now
about
you know
that.
The duality of good and evil.
Well, yeah. Oh, say serious, really? Sounds grabbler.
Oh, the theory itself? No, this is something that, like I said, physicists or actual physicists and theoretical physicists argue about, and one says prove it, and the other says it's a theory. You prove it. You're the experimenter. I'm just the theorist. So there's always people like that. There are screenwriters and poets like Shakespeare, but then there are the actors on stage that actually have to say the lines and prove it. And that's a bad analogy, but it's
Okie Bear.
People can understand.
Yeah, Okie Bear, I think you're correct in that the cat can't be a constant.
But if there is a cat that is theorized, that if there is a proton and we theorize there's an electron and we go to observe that electron and we can never, ever find it, the fact that we are looking for it has changed its position. That's really what it comes down to in the physics.
Yeah, but every time they
discussion.
get into, okay, now we're getting into atom. They have found out that as they observe the atom actually moves at the will of the observer.
At the unwillingness of the observer, unableness of the observer to accurately measure its position.
Well, that I might disagree, because I've heard a bunch of different things about that. That the atom, what?
The elementary particle of the electron is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Which does dictate the mass and spin of the proton. The proton we have been able to identify, place, categorize, observe, but it does move, and it moves because the electron, every time we try to find it, moves the entire. This is, again, just theory. So if they're going back to the hollow earth, the more we look for it, the harder it's to find. Is it Bigfoot? Is it big hole in the earth?
Yeah. Hey, Joe Talks, do you want to call in? Do you want to call in and talk about this? Because
yeah, Joe, I need to argue tonight. I'm sorry, but
yeah,
I'm just in a very
I'll let you guys argue because I'm not as well versed as Boulder is in this. But yeah, if you need to call, I will. If you want to call, I will put up the phone number for you, guys. Just let Joe call in. No one else call in right now. There's the number,
Sirius
Joe.
asks, where does the electron go? And that is the duality of the electron, the two theories. And well, there's three theories. One, it's a wave. One, it's a particle. One, it's both. The wave theory it uses cancellation and frequency. The particle theory is much harder to pin down.
Well, Joe knows my number. I don't even know why I had to put it up there. He's got my regular number.
Yeah, Joe, cool.
Joe Talks. This is Joe Talks.
I'm trying to dilute this conversation down to something that everybody else can understand.
Pastor Jack, wait a second, man. Hold on a second.
There's Joe. Good to see. Let's talk to Joe.
There we go. We got Joe on the air.
Howdy, Joe. Well, howdy, Steve.
He's saying hi to himself? Okay. Anyway. Okay. I'm going to step back, and I'm going to let you and Boulder talk.
Give a brief summary. Joe Cool is the Air Force.
That's Joe Talks.
That you've had for
Joe Talks.
Oh, that's Joe Talks.
Yes.
Okay. Joe Cool is then
someone else.
Okay. Brief summary summed up.
Okay, you guys talk.
Howdy, Steve.
How's it going, Joe?
Good to be on the show again. It's been a hot minute. Yeah. So my comment actually was not in argument in favor of Steve. I actually disagree with Steve.
Okay, cool.
I think that I think the observer necessarily changes the interaction or how the particle behaves. It's the whole theory and construct behind the idea of whether light is a particle or a wave. And I think that I was actually thinking about this just the other day. When unobserved, light acts in the form of a wave, and when observed, it acts in the form of a particle. And it makes me think about, because when the person when anything observes, quote unquote anything, there is a transfer of light. There's transference of light, and there's also transference of wave form. So to me, it makes a lot of sense as to how it makes a lot of sense as to why whenever someone observes a particle, it changes its behavior. And I don't think light necessarily changes behavior. It is just when we observe it, it inherently changes how the observation is observed, if that makes any sense. So by looking at something, light is continually going to act the way it's going. It's not going to change how it's interacting with its surroundings, but if we observe light by itself, there's still some sort of refraction against that light, which is why it seems choppy to us. And choppy to us could theoretically mean could be perceived as particles. That's just my take.
Okay.
I'm not a scientist in this regard, but that's just my thoughts. So
okay.
And I would not disagree with that description at all. Just based on our observation and our theories, as well as how easily transferable this is into everyday life. Because again, nature being nature, it duplicates itself from the most minuscule particle all the way up to the macro scale. So when I say to you that the fact of you learning something from a book or hearing the word of the good book has changed you, it hasn't changed anyone else the same way, but it's changed you. That sermon on that Sunday has changed you in this way. It may not be observable to you how it's changed you, but in some way that it did. You may not know it. So the person speaking
right,
it
and
may not know
actually,
it. The whole
I agree
world
with that, because
may not know it.
The message itself doesn't change. The message itself doesn't change. Light itself doesn't change. It is the observer that is viewing a different perspective. So I do agree. I mean, I think I jumped in prematurely to this conversation, or perhaps even late. But based off of what you're saying, I do agree that whenever there is a sermon, whenever there's a book, a person in and of itself is inherently affected. I wouldn't say changed, but is affected by the sermon itself. So going back to like Schrodinger's cat, I was actually kind of surprised at the lack of response on the chat. I mean, Schrodinger's cat is such an iconic theory. I mean, the whole principle of if I don't touch it, it is therefore dead and alive at the same time. It's such an interesting concept. So the same thing happens with light.
Well, I may be the only one in the chat that owns a Schrodinger's cat T-shirt.
Well, it's the same. It's the same concept. If you get stranded on an island, and you get lost at sea, well, to the people that knew you, you could either be alive or dead to them. If they go to the island you were stranded on, they're going to know for sure. But until that point, they're back home going, "Oh, he's still alive. He's still alive," because to them, he's still alive.
The most recognizable analogy is if a tree falls in the woods.
Well, yeah.
Taken to a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
About physics. Right. And so does a bear shit in the woods? Sure. Have you ever seen one do it? No.
Yeah. But by the way, just for my identification, Steve, you do know who this is, right?
Of course.
Okay, I just wanted to check.
Joseph. I don't want to give away your last name, but you were my student. Okay, so just so you know.
I just wanted to make sure you're all on the same page here. So
I know your voice, dude. Dude, you were in my class from the time you were like single digits age. Okay, up until I think I know your voice.
That's your statement.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I don't think there's necessarily a debate here. I was just really curious. I wanted to chime in because I think you had said, Steve, that said that the light affects the observation of light affects a person's ability or something like that. And I think I commented.
Well, the way it was explained to me is that sometimes scientists observing the proton and parts of the atom said that it's weird because and this is what I read, that they felt that when they wanted it to move a certain way, it did.
Okay, so you're talking about something completely different. You're talking about quarks.
That's what I had said. That's what I was talking about when I said it moved the way that person wanted it to move.
So you are actually referencing string theory and particle physics.
Which I've been a fan of string theory for God knows how long.
He's talking electrolithography.
Yeah.
And yes, you can make down to the atomic level move the way you want them to.
That's
using
not
various,
actually correct.
Forces.
Okay, fine. You can manipulate the orientation of a quark through cold lasers. However, the whole concept of yes, we can make particles move based off of what we want, that is categorically false. The reason that theory is is because quarks in and of itself is in all orientations at all times. This goes into the whole theory of quantum communications and quantum-based security, because in order for a quantum bridge to be established, you have polar opposite, positive and negative quarks at completely opposite orientations. And the whole theory is, if, let's say you have a positive quark, facing upward, its opposing negative quark is going to be downwards. So
there's an opposite. There's an opposite to that as well.
Quantum security. So
the
it is with that theory that
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Someone talk.
So
continue, Joe.
Yeah, it is with that theory where individuals can say, well, then we can control the orientation of a quark, which is, again, categorically false. Like, for example, the same argument can be made that, yes, I know for a fact that this tree fell in the woods. Yes, I observed the bear shitting in the woods. Yes, I know that the cat is dead. We are both wrong and right at the same time. So,
unless you open up the box.
No, what you were talking about, and which is observable from the quark, is equal and opposite of the effects of the neutrinos, which are their elementary cousins. They are what we are when we observe them, but they are allowed to change, but only towards one from another. So the gao to a mu, the mu to a tau, and we don't know how that change is affected based on their interactions with other elementary quarks or bosons.
Correct.
But they are set. They are stable until they're not. And
yes.
So when the quark is all things at once, the neutrino is only one thing with the capability of being all things. All four of the states of that particle is what I mean.
Right. So
we
the neutrino is always always have a state of positive charge. The quark itself is in constant flux. So there's a difference between flux and in a constant and an unknown. So the constant is a neutrino, and the quark is considered an unknown variable. So just because those two are there, it does not mean that one is mutually exclusive to the other. So I just want to set that straight. But anyway, gentlemen, I appreciate the conversation.
The duality,
I actually have to take off.
The duality is possible. That's what I'm saying. The duality is possible. Still, it's not right. It's not that the one is in flux or one is the opposite of the other. That's a misspeak on my part. It is that the possibility of balance is achievable whenever there is an imbalance.
Understood.
Whether it's
Understood.
on
but
okay.
But that balance will only last for a fraction of a nanosecond. So it's similar to saying the most accurate clocks in the world are the ones that are stopped, because at one point in time of the day, or I'm sorry, at 2 points of time of the day, that clock will be correct. But to state that there is the ability to maintain stability between neutrinos and quarks is, in my humble opinion, technologically ignorant. Or, I'm sorry, technologically arrogant, I should say. But I hear what you're saying.
Just won the Nobel Prize for the discovery in 2018. So, I mean, it's pretty new, but it's out there. If you want to go look for it, it's out there. He won the Nobel Prize. I'm sorry, 2017. But it's right. It's out there. It's a theory.
So the last thing I'll say is this. So I'm actually I do a lot of stuff for the government, and there's actually a program that I'm supporting now that is utilizing that exact theory to generate quantum-based communications and quantum-based security. So I'm actually intimately familiar with this theory. But in the same regard, like you said, I will defer to that theory. And I mean, even every single constant that we know in the world is a theory, and it is a hypothesis that has to be continually proven for it to be
what do you think of the Chinese experiment of entanglement from I think it's like
I don't know. We're so far off subject. It's not even funny. This has been a rabbit trail.
Well, we've actually.
I apologize. I do have to jump off, but I definitely look forward to having further conversation. This has been entertaining.
Can you answer that question? Do you think that the Chinese achieved quantum entanglement from the Earth to a satellite?
Yes, I do.
No comment? Yeah, he doesn't have clear.
What?
No, he's got clearance. He knows. He just can't say. I'm telling
all right,
you.
And with that, gentlemen, with that, I bid you all good night. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
See you later, Joe.
You know what I think?
Yeah, there was a paper that came out that we've actually observed nuclear or quantum entanglement from the Earth to a satellite.
Okay,
I think you're both wrong. I think China both achieved quantum entanglement and didn't at the same time.
It's the cat in the box. Anyway,
cat in the box. Somebody's putting Andrew in a box.
Okay, well, think about. Okay, I'm gonna throw something out there. It might be a little off, but I'm gonna throw this out there and just I want Boulder's opinion on this. Now, have you ever heard of? Everybody's theorized on how time actually works. Have you ever heard of the spiral, the time spiral?
Which one?
Well,
yes,
I can't even explain it other than I saw it in a vision once, and I know it sounds weird to a lot of people.
I've seen people draw.
It was funny because one of the old guys that used to work for SpaceX that used to be in our group, and I can't remember his name. We talked about it one day.
Happy.
Happy.
Yeah,
he stayed at my house for a week. He's still alive.
Yeah, well, we were in a hangout call, and we were talking about that. And he said,
laughing at Kyle.
He says, okay, he goes, draw your picture of what you saw, and I'm going to draw a picture of what I saw. because we both had visions on this. And then we put our pictures up, and they were the same exact thing. And it kind of freaked us both out. It freaked us both out. So I'm just wondering. I mean, if you think about, if you believe the Earth actually rotates, because some people don't, and I'm going to try to bring this back to our donut Earth.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll bring it back.
Okay. Because I could go on that. Believe me, that rabbit hunt was definitely worth going on. But if you look at the way the Earth rotates and the way we're told it travels through space, it creates the same spiral vortex, so to speak. Correct?
I've seen that diagram.
Yeah.
Unless
do you subscribe to it?
The way that. No, absolutely not.
Okay. And how do you? Well, I'm just like I said. If you look at the way,
for the same reason that people cannot understand how, flat earthers especially say that they say we're moving on a planet that's moving at 1,000 miles, and it's like, you have no idea. Okay, so hollow Earth, similar. The closer you get to Earth, the smaller you get, the more compressed you are as a bag of fluid.
Yeah.
You'd end up being the size of a postage stamp about 100 miles under the crust.
And you would have died long time before you got near there.
They also misinterpret and don't understand what a vacuum is, and how it's measured, and how it's observed, and how it's duplicated. So those arguments to me are, however, the spiral vortex. Look, we're only 114 years of human manned flight.
Yeah.
Kitty Hawk was 1905.
Yeah, wasn't that long ago.
Okay. In 1969, we left this rock and went to the moon. Now, we have been leaving this rock since before.
Yeah.
1952, 1953, but the Russians and the Americans instantly put a complete ban on Antarctica. 1951, 52.
It was in the 50s. We know that.
What are they hiding? They're hiding evidence that we are not the first organism to ever leave this rock.
You think that's it?
Yes, I absolutely think that's it. And all of the advancements in technology since then, I mean, people, come on, reverse engineering, being able to figure out something. Let's look at the Bob Lazar podcast on the Joe Rogan Experience. It was 15 million people watched it.
Okay, well, here's okay. So
one was like,
if there was
like
a society
highest rated what?
Yeah, but if there was a society
you know who
that
Bob Lazar is, right?
Yes, but if there was a society that left this rock before ours, where did they go? Where do you think they went? Is that what we're seeing on Mars? Was it Mars or Venus?
The sun.
I think once you've allowed so right now we're a civilization that sends guinea pigs into space. What I'm talking about is a civilization that can take their entire civilization with them.
Well, yeah.
Wherever they go, forever.
Well, they're learning now that it would be easier to go
to go somewhere.
Well,
I think maybe there's a mothership. I don't know. Maybe there's 10 motherships. All the tribes left and got their own mothership, whatever.
Yeah, but do you realize they're looking at, it's easier for them to go to Venus than it is Mars. It only takes 100 days to go to Venus. And they're saying as long as they don't touch down, they're fine. They could stay in the clouds for an indefinite amount of time because of the temperature and the air quality.
I thought it was acidic.
No, the bottom is, if you touch ground, you're dead.
Oh.
But if you stay at the clouds, couple of,
you'd be perpetually invisible, and you could potentially draw energy from.
Well, they're saying that it's a constant at the cloud level. It's a constant 75 degrees. If you stay just above the clouds,
I'm saying, once energy is free, once we know how to convert energy for free.
Yeah, we knew it, and we still know it. They're just not telling us. Tesla knew it.
Tesla was on the right track, and so he was sidelined. He was discredited.
It's not that energy is free. It's that you need a system that coincides with the rest of the whole system.
Okay, wait a second now. Pastor Jack.
As we understand it.
What does the NAACP want with me? That has nothing to do with the stream today. We're so far out there in tinfoil land, it's not even funny.
Tinfoil?
Well, come on. We've kind of gone back and forth. No, come on now. With Donut Earth, Hollow Earth, some of the things we've talked about, it's pretty tinfoil. Right. And then we've ventured into, theoretical physics, and now, we're kind of moving back. Now we're flying around and trying to figure out how the hell we leave this rock. Hey, Scooter, we're talking Hollow Earth.
It's just
at least
a
we
theory.
were.
Guys, would you stop timing out It's Saucin'? That is my job.
He's like, damn it. He goes, he's getting withdrawal symptoms sitting here watching that happen.
I'm just going to start timing people out.
Tesla was smart, but he's overrated.
Yeah. Reverend Jesse, look at the last two people on the face of the earth that want to talk to me is Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton. Just saying.
Well, the overrated part is kind of difficult to understand, because when you're a leading edge explorer of unknowns, everybody calls you crazy. Everybody can't even understand yet. They're taking baby steps while you're, again, the Wright brothers, actually mastering flight. Now, there are a lot of other people that mastered flight, but it only took one to get it right. And that's an Edison quote. I made 1,000 light bulbs.
Overrated.
Well, in a way that they are, because they combined a lot of other existing experiments and they took the next logical step. That's a quote from Galileo.
Yeah, that's
did Galileo invent the telescope? No, but he's credited with it. There were 100 other experiments and inventors that tried and failed, and he took all of their ideas and took the next logical step. So it's like that with everything.
Yeah.
The thing is, the flat earth has been tried for thousands of years. It failed. In fact, if you really want to get into it, the pyramid code is the exact dimensions of the earth.
Well, what I'm saying
5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, a lot of people are like, "Oh, Tesla was like a god; he could do anything."
No, he did some stuff that
he kind of knew what he was doing.
Yeah, he did some stuff. So yeah, he came up with some stuff that they hid away. And for the people in the chat, I am reading the chats. I can't always respond. I'm trying to stay in the conversation, so I can't.
Yeah, I'm reading the chats too.
Pastor
Edison did rob Tesla. Okie.
This is Scooter. Scooter's been bugging me. I think, it was Scooter that was bugging me to do this show. We started on Hollow Earth, and it hurt us. It was painful. Okay, to talk about it. It was like we stayed on it as long as we could.
I guess my thought on Hollow Earth is the same with the theoretical particle physics where I was just talking about with Joe. How do we know until we observe it? And if we observe it, does it change? Do we even have as a species,
isn't that the whole
point? We have the ability to understand what that would mean?
Well, but the arrogance of this, see, the arrogance,
the whole point.
The arrogance of this species is that we think that we know enough about everything to voice an opinion and say, this is definitely it. When the fact we probably
sound like my ex-wife.
We probably know a 0.5% of the knowledge in the universe, if that.
I agree. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're voicing our opinion, and we're stating our facts based on like half of a 0.5%.
We're killing each other over it.
Oh yeah,
we've been killing each other over it. Look at religious sects. I mean, that's just one. Then look to political differences. That's another. Then look to man killing woman and woman killing man. I mean, there's We've been killing each other over differences since we decided what different was.
But I think declaring facts like that is a good thing, so that each of us can plant a flag in the ground, and then we have definitive spaces that can be tackled, and we can say, okay, this is right and this is wrong. And
the Earth owns the Earth owns the moon, not the United States.
Like, people can like combat each other intellectually when they just state facts like that. And I think that rather than just saying, well, we don't really know, and then where does that get you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no one wants to follow someone that guesses. And it's like, oh, yeah, I kind of think it's this. Everybody's like, what?
Yeah, nobody wants to say, nobody trusts that.
No,
you know?
No. It's like, hey, I want you to jump off this and I'll catch you.
On that tire.
Well, it's like, okay, I want you to jump off the top of this building and I'll catch you. Are you sure you can? I think I can.
I'm not sure.
I did that one time, and my brother swore he would catch me. Didn't. I've never done it again.
Okay, guys, I gotta take a call in. Scooter has been writing notes because he's wanted me to do this for God knows how long. So he wants.
Let's do it.
You ready for this, guys? Okay,
if you
Scooter.
want in on this, Scooter.
Scooter.
You better be ready.
Okay, yeah, you. Okay, you want now? Do you have the phone number? Or do I gotta post it again, Scooter?
You got Boulder on a bourbon night.
Oh. Are you ready, Scooter? Because I'm throwing you to the wolves.
He's ready.
They're
hungry. I was just saying, I think it's a good thing to like state facts like that and plant a flag in the ground so that people can go through like intellectual, factual Darwinism. The biggest facts can come to the top.
I read it in a book once. Well, no, it's like he said it on the internet. That's right. It can't be wrong if it's on the internet, right? Right? Bonjour.
That's
yeah, I'm a French model. Bonjour.
But it could. I'm not sure. Maybe you don't.
I like two things. I like philosophical inquiry with a curious nature, and I like observational facts of a semi-demonstrable, repeatable fact pattern.
I also like two things, but mine are a little different. Mine are just plain old engineering and sweet Italian sausage.
Sweet. Scooter, I got the number up there. Call in. It's up there. Call in. I'm going to leave it up there for another minute.
No.
It's been up there for a minute.
Because him and I are working.
Scooter, call in, damn it. The hell? You said you wanted to call in. You had notes.
In a minute. It's not going to happen. Sorry, had to sidetrack. Kyle's sleeping. He's not going to comment.
No, I'm talking about Scooter.
Oh, Scooter?
Yeah,
He's
Scooter.
probably getting his facts together and researching other live streams of people that have said things, and he's going to call in.
Yeah, it's up on the screen. Yeah.
Maybe he got his internet turned off for not paying his bill.
Okay, here we go. Hello, you're on the air.
Mr. Pinder, I've been calling for the last 2 days.
Okay.
I've got your phone number, sir.
Okay.
How are you, my friend?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
All right, man. Thank you so much for bringing this up, because I was watching you and your friends discuss flat Earth. Remember?
Yes, I remember.
You researched your drones and your cameras, correct? The curvature of the Earth. Well, I actually fly large jet airplanes. So I've actually flown around the world.
Uh-huh.
So I get that. But you actually discussed that with people that didn't believe you. So it's incredible how you can actually discuss something you know is not facts. But anyway, so I brought up Hollow Earth, and people were discussing you. Said, what's that, a Hershey bar? A candy coating? And I said, no, Hitler and Bird. And what did you say?
What? With Hitler and what about Hitler? What do you mean? I didn't say anything. I saw you say the Hitler and Bird.
You said Admiral James Byrd.
Yes.
And Hollow Earth theory. So you knew what I was talking about. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
And so
I started, I've researched. I think we had documentaries on Discovery Channel, but in 1926, James Byrd went to the North Pole, supposedly, whatever.
Yeah, I was.
Hitler supposedly researched the North Pole September 17th prior to World War II, and he was actually trying to research an upper hand. The Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant, whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's why the movie came out with Indiana Jones. It's based on not fact, history, whatever. But in 1947, after World War II, we defeated Nazis, and James Byrd returned to North Pole with how many people? 4,700 troops, 13 ships, an aircraft carrier, and lots of seaplanes.
Yep.
And a
Where they
permanently
believe they
established
found
base ever
pyramids.
since.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, someone, Boulder said, and they've had a permanently established base ever since.
Well, supposedly, when Hitler got there and the Nazis in the 30s, they found a permanent base that was subterranean.
Yeah.
Well, after the Nazis collapsed and we whooped their butts in World War II, America sent troops back to investigate those findings. So here's my deal. I greatly respect you, sir, for baconing you. Why'd they go there? And also, for me, it's just about opening your minds to other alternative, realities. Maybe there is a Hollow Earth. Right now, there's a magnetic north, a magnetic south. It pivots on its rotation. And some people said in 1659?
1959 in December. That was, that was when the book came out. That was Giannini's book came out. Okay.
Well, but Edward Haley in 1656 believed that the Earth was hollow. It was actually a core that rotated within the Earth itself, which made the magnetic pole move from north to east, or left to right, whatever. Astronomer, geologist, mathematician, right? So they started investigating why is the magnetic pole not stable the entire time. And like 65 years later, the guy said, "There's this hollow."
The current theory, or are you asking like a theory? Like, why is the magnetic north not stable?
Exactly. And they actually said,
like, are you asking, like, what is the current theory, the best theory? What is a theory on why it's not stable?
Well, in the 1700s, they believed there's actually an inner core spinning opposite direction. And that was a
solid core or a molten core?
Molten core. And they actually believed in the 1700s there was a center of the Earth had a center, which was 600 miles in diameter, which had an entire universe within our core. Now, do you believe that? I don't know. It's fun to talk about.
Well, that's for
but
sure.
What I started talking to my friends about was, my friends told me crazy. I was talking to my friends earlier, and they said, "Well, you're an idiot because it's not true." I said, "Well, who taught you this?" "Well, read a book, scientists." And I said, "Well, who taught you that?" "A guy with a book." And you're led to believe what you're told. We've grown up reading a book or being taught by people that actually don't know jack crap. I sat there and listened to you talk about being a Jew or a Christian or treating pigs or deer, and I enjoyed everything you said. I'll sit there watching TV and listen to every one of your podcasts because you're an educated person. In every question, you will actually accept the question. So my question is, why do you believe what you're told?
Why do I believe what I'm told?
Not you. I'm just saying in general.
No,
every day you go to elementary school or high school or college, you're being told this because the book says so.
Well, that's...
We see the last 50 years, we've been lied to.
Well, it's like one of my friends that
about 5,000 years.
Yeah, but I have a friend that he went through college and all that, and he's like, "Oh, I wrote a research paper on that, so I know what I'm talking about." And I'm like, "Okay, well, did you write a research paper?
He read 4 books.
Did you? Okay, well, yeah. Well, the thing is, I said, "Okay, did you observe it and write it?" And he's like, well, I read this person's book and that person's book, and I form my own opinion. And I'm just like, you're regurgitating someone else. I said, unless you're out there observing it. And I said, that's the problem. I have a problem with believing everything that someone says. I've always been a bit of a rebel that way.
Actually, I started reading, and I started reading into core samples. They drilled 8 miles into the center of the earth, and it's burned up. They melted.
Mm-hmm.
At 8 miles. How thick is the earth? In 1659, it says 4.4 more dense than the moon.
Okay, well,
how the hell do they know that?
Well, you can figure out how deep it is by, the circumference in the equator is, I think, just a little over 25,000 miles. And
it's 25,000 at the belt. I learned that on a game show yesterday.
Yeah, so then you could figure out the distance to the core. I mean, pretty precisely.
So you drill 8 miles into the earth and it melts to bits. I'm pretty sure if the earth is that freaking hot, it's going to blow up. Or not. I have no idea.
It could have been friction that melted it.
I'm questioning what I've been taught.
It does blow up. It does blow up. They're called volcanoes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It does blow up. It's called ocean vents.
Yes. 8 miles down, bits burn up. I'm just saying, I'm questioning what I've been taught all my life.
Uh-huh.
And I always told my friends today, they would call me idiots and a moron, which is hard to do when you're drinking a cocktail. I'm like, fine. I said, listen to Steve Pinder and we'll discuss this. But quit believing what's been taught by people with glasses. And listen to Steve Pinder.
Yeah.
It's good to question things, but
hey, Steve,
question everything.
But don't forget not to just believe the opposite of what you're told just because.
No, wait a second. Now, no. Say that again.
I'm not being opposite of what I'm being told. I'm just questioning what I've been trained and taught.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I
didn't trust what my mom told me. But, Tanner, I was told you can't get an inch of bacon off a wild pig.
Whoa. Say that again?
I was told you cannot get an inch of bacon off a feral hog.
Yeah, you were told you were told that for whatever reason.
She's pigs here in Texas.
There are 2 places. Now you can get it. It's not going to have the meat line that a normal
strap of bacon.
Yeah, that where you can have like a marble of 2 or 3 layers of meat. You're going to have about a half an inch of meat and about a half an inch of fat. Now you can take that, and this is way off. This is way off the subject of the show. But you asked me, so I'm going to answer it. Now you can take. I won't take the bacon off of the ribs. I won't take it because I like the ribs nice and meaty. I won't take the bacon off the ribs. I will take it from the flanks.
All right. Mm-hmm. But hey, but thank you so much. And I've been looking at Steve Bird, James Byrd, and Hitler, and he's actually the biographies about when when Byrd left at 46 and 7, he opened his mouth.
Oh
about Hall Earth, and they told him to shut the hell up.
Yeah.
He did.
When he just did it in the whole world and came back and said he met people with advanced flying machines.
Yep.
And that people told us to stop blowing up atomic bombs. They told him to shut up, didn't they?
Yeah. Okay. This is what he said. Okay.
From the books that are written about him or the words that are told about him, supposedly.
Giannini and Palmer. Okay. This is what they wrote. And they said during his supposed flight over the North Pole in 1947, Vice Admiral Byrd radioed that he saw below him not snow, but area of land with mountains, forests, vegetation, lakes, and rivers, and among the weeds, a strange animal that looked like a mammoth. Also, according to Giannini and Palmer, in January of 1956, after leading another expedition to Antarctica, Vice Admiral Byrd had stated that his expedition had explored 3,700 kilometers beyond the South Pole. And furthermore, just before his death, Byrd said that of a land beyond the pole, and that's when he talked about the enchanted continent in heaven, a land of permanent mystery. If you travel 3,700 miles past the pole, you're going to reach ocean well before that. That's why people have formulated that there's something else there, whether he's going inward into the earth or it's flat. That's where everybody gets their it's flat. It's flat. Or they say hollow Earth.
I've heard a lot more theories than that.
Oh, yeah, but that's where it started, I believe. And that's my theory.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, in 26,
also
he said he went to the North Pole,
satellite
but his
theory.
single
Whoa,
aircraft
guys, you're
did not have
talking.
the range for it. Correct.
No, you guys were talking over each other. That's all. I'm just.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
In 1920,
I just wanted to say.
In 26.
Go ahead.
Keep going.
In 1926, Byrd went there, supposedly, but his aircraft don't have the range of fuel to make a 14-mile round trip. So they accused him of circling outside the horizon and coming back and go, "Oh, I'm at the North Pole." That was 26.
Yeah, in May.
But in
May
39,
9th, that was
39. Hitler went.
Yeah, but May 9th.
And then 40.
May 9th of 26. It was May 9th in 1926. He went to Antarctica and flew over the South Pole on November 29th.
Supposedly.
Supposedly. Now, between
Because
1946
they said his
and
aircraft did not have the range or the fuel to do it.
Yeah, but he said now it was between 1946 and 1947. That's when he carried out the operation called High Jump.
High Jump, 13 ships, an aircraft carrier, and seaplane bases are seaplanes with 4,700 troops.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually conquered Nazi Germany, found some crap, and we went to Hollow Earth with 4,700 troops, 13 ships, and an aircraft carrier. Why would we do that?
Russia was there.
For what reason?
USSR was there too.
More questions than answers.
Well, yeah, I believe a lot of them didn't come back. I believe a lot of them stayed.
Well, supposedly when Hitler got there in 39, they found pyramids and civilizations below the surface, which was the Hollow Earth theory. And it was enough the U.S. military sent their troops there after World War II.
So, but here's another thing. Now,
yes, sir.
Because it says now, if you think about it, you're getting to frigid cold, and all of a sudden you have plants and creatures and mountains and rivers and lakes. What happens to the climate? Is it because the ozone layer is allowing
no.
Well, I mean, think about it. What's going on? What's causing that to happen there?
Well, your friend has said the Earth is full of magma, and below the surface is lava. So that heats the Earth.
Not necessarily. I didn't say the
in 1947, 1974, a big ray of ice melted on the North Pole. A huge hole the size of Manhattan opened up.
Yep, I actually have a picture of that. Hold on a second.
And it was not on the coast.
I think
supposedly,
I have a picture of it.
Yeah, it happened again in between 74 and 46. I'm sorry, 74 and 76 was a huge hole. And then again in 2016, the hole opened up again. It's not by the beach. It's not by the ocean. It is in the middle of the North Pole. A hole melted at the North Pole.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you Google this?
Do you want to know the conspiracy theory on that? Because I have heard that theory.
No, it's not theory. It's NASA.
The conspiracy theory on that, the hole opening and several other
not
holes.
Conspiracy. It's pictures from NASA.
No, what I'm saying is, what is the scientific theory? What is the conspiracy theory? What is the layman theory? What is nobody has a consensus. So one of those
there's a hole. I don't care why, but a hole open
is called an interior satellite. So we have a satellite like the moon that is revolving inside of the Earth, inside of the magma layer, as you know, as is theorized. And the moon and this interior satellite are only locked every couple of decades, which does open up places on the Earth where they connect. And that is one of the theories of how Byrd got in and how he got out.
Well, who did he meet when he was in there? It's Edmund Halley in 1656. The concept is that the magnetic pole shifts because the inside of our Earth is not a solid core. It rotates inside each other. So that's why. What do you call it? Come on, man! It's you spin the ball, go to the thing, it spins around circles, triple force. What do you call that?
You guys talk for a second. I'm looking for that image.
Come on.
Yeah,
Which one?
definitely find the image. So the interior satellite theory is a inverse of the Earth. Rather than us being on the outside, on the inside of the satellite, we live on the inside, and we are heated by the core, by a non-solid core, because technically it couldn't be solid in this theory.
Actually,
but if it were that gravity would
1600s.
pull the satellite inward and outward, as we can see with interior centrifugal forces, the part that keeps the moon and the interior satellite connected, but only in conjunction when the magnetic fields are in alignment, which does not happen. It happens periodically every few decades, but not enough for it to shift the poles. That it does every few millennia.
Okay, I have a picture up on the screen.
That's that theory. I'm not saying that's my
Okay,
theory.
okay.
I'm just saying that's the
Freeze
inner
frame.
satellite theory.
It's a Agartha, Agarta, or Agatai. The Buddhists talked about the inner Earth and
Yeah.
civilizations which would live inside
So
our
did
Earth.
the Native American.
No, Buddha. I'm a Buddha. My wife's a Buddha from
So
Thailand.
did the Nahuatl from Mexico. So did the Incan. So did the
All I'm
Peruvians.
saying is it possible? Is it something we can discuss and not scream and cuss at each other?
Well, yeah. But
It's a great
sometimes-
conversation.
Some-
Pinder, thank you so much.
Yeah,
my
but
friend.
sometimes Boulder and I just like yelling at each other though, but still.
Well,
But
I
yeah,
don't
this
have
is
a
the
cigar.
this
I
is
need
a
a
satellite
big
image
freaking
where.
fat cigar right now.
But here's the satellite image, and it's basically where everything was just wiped away, and basically this is ice, but it shows a clear opening. And what they're saying is that
The size of Maryland.
every time or every so often, I think it's since they've had satellites up. This
I got it right here. 1974,
74.
1976,
This
again,
thawed out.
2016.
They're saying that this thawed out in 74, froze back over again, and then it thawed out again recently, or something like that.
2016. I've got my notes.
Yes, there you go. See, okay, I'm keeping up with you. I don't have my notes, but I've been looking at this stuff. When you said do Hollow Earth, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not just going to go into this completely and just say, yeah, Hollow Earth. You guys talk. I mean, I tried to do a little bit of research, and I found it
That's why I'm
interesting.
calling you, my friend.
Yeah, I found it interesting.
You research flat Earth like no one's business. You used a drone.
I didn't use the drone. I took another guy from Texas, his video footage, and basically showed how even though
It curvature the Earth at 1,000, 2,000, 90,000 feet. It
Yes,
proves it's not freaking flat.
well, I mean, I've been in a freaking jet at 50,000 feet, just over 50,000 feet in a full canopy jet. Believe me, the damn thing is not flat from what I saw.
Pinder, I'll take you flying tomorrow, and I'll prove it's not flat.
You know how much I love flying.
I flew from JFK to freaking Narita.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have
it
my
ain't
pilot's
flat.
license. I don't have my pilot's license, but I have about 20 hours backseat in jets or planes and jets actually.
I got 9,000 hours. So.
Oh, geez, well, a little bit more than me. Just a little bit.
I'm not a lawyer, but I've been to jail.
Hey guys,
Hey, but I've
right now,
flown a
friend of
plane.
mine,
I've
one of my
backseated
captains
a
I fly
plane.
with lives in Liston. So say hi to Andrew. He's a big religious guy. He would love to discuss
Observation is
religion with
one
you,
thing.
Mr. Pinder.
Oh, I love that. I love discussing religion from all different angles. Now, look, yeah, I'm a Christian.
Andrew's using numbers. 115, 156, Jack and Joel. It freaked me out. We had a great conversation about religion. And I want to hook you two guys up. You'll have a blast. He lives in he's east of Dallas. I'm sorry, west Dallas-Fort Worth. Oh, and I know where you live, Mr. Pinder.
What's that?
You live right
Yes,
below
also,
an
that's
approach
me.
in the DFW from what's the approach called? It's the Good Rose approach.
Okay.
Your house is right below one of our fixes we turn on.
Okay.
I'm a pilot. It's a pilot story. Anyway, let's keep on going. What do you want to do? So I'm happy we discussed Hollow Earth. Not Hitler, but Hitler
I
spent
like
so much
flirting
time
with the
researching
ideas with the possibility.
Hollow Earth. Well, I mean, look at the Raiders of the Lost Ark. It was all about artifacts and history, and he wanted upper hand to beat his toes. And he went to the North Pole, Hallworth, in 1939.
Around a star.
It just makes me
what if we are?
Go ahead.
What are you saying,
what
Boulder?
If we are the electron that is unobservable, floating around a proton that makes up a cell?
Oh, you're going Men in Black on me now.
That's living on a different Earth.
You're going Men in Black on me now. I mean, remember that?
Identity.
Remember when it backs off on the Earth, and then it goes to the solar system, then the galaxy, and then the Martians playing marbles with the galaxy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think about that. And I think about that. I'm like, how do we know? How do we know? You know, some kid with some friggin' monstrous alien-sized kid with a hammer just doesn't go, I don't like this one. Poof, there goes your whole friggin'
Hey, Pinder and friends, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why have they released videos of spaceships? NASA, CNN, Fox News. Why did they release that just recently? We've known that shit since Roswell.
Well, yeah.
Why are they doing it now?
Agreed.
Yeah.
Prior to Storm Area 51, which is a dumb thing to do, but they released all the information basically saying, yes, there are aliens. We've known it for years. We've just been lying to you. Why have they released the information in the last 2 months? Why?
I don't know. I was kind of hoping, though, that we would cleanse some of the gene pool and they would storm that place. Because, well, I mean, there's like 250,000 of us. They can't get us all. And I'm like,
3 people showed up.
10 miniguns on mounted things on top of those buildings. Yeah, that'd get every one of you. I hate to tell you.
But why they release the videos of alien ships?
About even going
we've seen that. We've seen that crap for 50 years. We know it.
I know.
But why is CNN releasing it now? Jeff Epstein's a pedophile. We know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Sirius
so why
says,
are they releasing videos of alien ships right now?
Sirius says he hopes they don't eat meat. I hope they don't eat meat either, because I ain't sharing my venison. So.
Okay.
Hey, Pinder, I stole my challenge to you, buddy.
You all said.
What's that?
Actually, Joe said.
Hold on. What's?
Can you get a pound of bacon from a feral hog? And I say yes, because
I get 25 pounds from my hog.
If I take that entire, whatever. if I take that same feral hog to a starving child in Africa and tell him the whole thing is hog, he's gonna eat the whole fucking thing.
Not if he's a Muslim.
And he's going to say that's the best bacon I've ever had.
Look, I'm Jewish, and I'm bad now, because once I moved to Texas, I tasted hog meat, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm a bad Jew now.
Look at your perspective. Perspective.
Hey, Steve.
Your
I got a friend
of observation.
Hey, guys, you're gonna have to listen for each other, because you're constantly talking. Ever since Tuesday's stream, the Discord is talking over my phone call. Can you guys not hear the person talking on the phone?
I can't hear when he starts. We need to get these people into the Discord.
Yeah, probably. I think I need to open up my other one.
Possibly. I think
my turn.
Pinder, we might be able to work on your microphone a little bit.
Really? I think my microphone sounds
Pinder,
just fine. Yeah, your turn.
Not the microphone.
Okay, hey, Pinder, Scotty. Hey, I've got a big cooler, and I've got friends with fish. You've got pig and venison. Let's wrap it up, put it in my cooler, and ship it to Brian King.
Okay, I have venison. I don't have any hog right now. I'm waiting to get another one here soon. But yeah, I'll give him some venison if you'll help me ship it. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a friend that's fish once a week. He does stripers and crappie. He's got tons of fish. And Brian King's a gentleman. I love the guy. You and him are the only guys I watch religiously. My phone beeps. I turn on. I watch you every time you come on.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well,
so
I love your approach to religion, and I love your approach to people that don't like you, because you're such a gentleman. You don't care.
You don't know me very well. I have my moments, let me tell you.
Even if you get swatted. I was there when you got swatted.
Yeah?
I didn't care. Like I said, I know where you live. You live really close to me.
I was the one making the phone call.
Wait a second. What are you talking about, Boulder?
I was joking.
Yeah.
I was watching your stream when you got swatted.
Yeah, I know.
And I did not make the phone call. Everybody needs to shut up with that conspiracy theory.
There's some of the trolls that said I did it myself, and I'm like, how the hell did I pull that one off?
Well, you were live when you got swatted, so I'm pretty sure it wasn't you.
Well, that's
it wasn't Carolina in Fort Worth. It was not Carolina in Fort Worth because she's a girl.
The cop kept on bringing up her name. Did it like twice.
I know. I'm like, I don't get publicity.
Jeez. It's like, yo, I
could have been Crazy Carl.
I'm trying. I wanted to ask him if he was trying to give her shout outs to boost her credibility or something, you know, because he kept on saying it. He knew I was live.
You've met her, right, Caroline?
Oh yeah. She's
a sweetheart. I've met her in Arlington.
She crashed my
James
stream.
Freeman fag. I love James Freeman and Bow.
She crashed my stream and jumped in my truck one day while I was streaming out of the truck.
I was at Val's trial for 2 days in Tarrant County last year.
Oh, really?
And yes, and Caroline was there taking notes, and the judge said, "Get out until you button up your freaking cleavage." Because you know Caroline.
Yeah.
But no, so Caroline had to button up her shirt, or the judge would not let her take notes. And then the prosecutor said, "These people support him." Like, you don't know who the hell I am. Don't put your finger at me. It was a farce. The Bunch of Val's trial was ridiculous. It really was. He did 45 days in solitary for refusing his bond.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it because he?
Who did?
That was Clash with Bow.
Yeah, but Bow streamed every day from jail. That's kind of cool too.
Yeah. Anyway,
and I was in Almost Park. And with CJ Grisham and all those guys.
Yeah.
And, but sir, thank you so much. You do a great service to the community. And I know you didn't like to be first in the guys in the beginning, but those guys are awesome. The second in the guys are incredible. I wish I was that brave.
Yeah, me too. But I'm going to have to let you go because I am totally at the end of the stream and I have to shut this thing down, buddy.
We got 10 minutes.
Yeah, but by the time I close this thing down. Anyway.
Mr. Pinder, thank you very much, my friend.
Yeah, you have a good one. God bless.
Bye-bye.
Yep, bye. Okay. No more phone calls, guys. No more phone calls. So.
Scooter sounds like he's from the South.
The gate is closed.
Well, what? You're talking about Scooter?
Yeah, is he from the South?
He's from the state. He lives right down the road, pretty much.
Oh, okay. So that's a yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, he's real close.
You live in Texas.
Yeah, right down the road is still in Texas. Heck,
Yeah.
an hour plane flight is still in Texas.
Still in Texas.
It takes
16-hour drive from San Antonio to
it takes
Amarillo.
me
Still in Texas.
when I drive to Tennessee, the longest part of the drive is trying to get out of Texas. Takes me 5.5 hours to get out of Texas. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, we can go to space in about 3 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's, at 18,000 miles an hour helps too. So.
Oh, we don't start out at that mile per hour.
No,
with a lot of thrust and willpower. Yeah, we get out of the atmosphere.
Yeah, thrust and willpower fixes everything, right? So anyway, oh my God. Oh, geez.
Apparently not marriages.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I'm just gonna. Oh my God, this has been a crazy stream, man. We were all over the place, and we started on Hollow Earth and kind of went everywhere, which was really cool. I really liked the conversation. We got into theoretical, physics and some string theory and some other things like that, and it was kind of cool that we went off on that and then got back on the Hollow Earth before the end of it. That was kind of interesting. So
yeah, man, absolutely. If you start out with a little Pinder, put in some Hollow Earth, sprinkle on a little bourbon and Boulder, then you get what you get.
Yeah, you get a crazy but educational. I believe this stream is very educational for a lot of people. We kept people interested in it.
At least keep them curious.
Yeah,
that's the point.
Yeah, just keep them asking questions.
Keep everyone curious.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want to support this stream, you can send a super chat. You can do a PayPal. You can become a Patreon, or you can buy something at Teespring. Now, I didn't even have time to play a commercial today, so we'll have to do that another time. I haven't had time to play commercials at all the last few streams, so we've been just talking
I'm
and
asking
talking.
you, is the cat in the box a boy or a girl? Ha! You didn't ask that one.
No.
That wasn't the question.
Okay.
It wasn't the question.
I could get really bad here, but if it's in a box, it's probably a male.
Yeah. We tend to put ourselves in boxes.
Pastor, what do you mean? When am I coming to the Black Family Day? Oh
Jesus.
my God.
Oh jeez.
Oh, anyway, I think I need to start, because if I don't start this, I'm going to keep talking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
well, I've already got one Canadian in my house who's already asleep while watching a live stream.
Yeah.
First, by the way.
Yeah, he was texting and he just nodded off. Did you work him that hard?
Well, I mean, it's the altitude.
That's true.
He works
Yeah.
twice as hard whether he knows it or not. I told him that the first day, and he's like, no. Day 3, he's passed out at 8 o'clock after I feed him.
What do you mean? Wait a second. Willie, it's going to be the last live stream? What?
Yeah, Willie's going off air for a while.
Oh, man. You can't do that to me, Willie.
Yeah.
That's it. We're going to have to set up a video chat then so Willie can come on the stream. That's what I think we need to do.
Sounds good.
Shit, I'll have a few beers with Willie anything.
Yeah. We'll have him. He'll be the bartender. I'll make it look like he's at the bar, and then I'll put everybody else on the screen.
Nice.
And, that's easy. We can do that. I got some photography fun I can do. Yeah, we could do that.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Peace out from a mile high in Boulder, Colorado.
Hey,
That's right.
guys, aren't we? When we blow up this planet at the end of the stream, do you notice it's not a very big explosion? If it was a solid planet, don't you think it would have more chunks?
Yes, and those chunks ended up on the other side of the moon.
That's correct. Okay. Sure. Why not?
No, Willie, man, I miss your live streams. You need to come on my stream and just sit in a couple of times on video. I can hook it up for you. Trust me, we can get this done.
Yeah.
We'll get you in on video, man, because I don't know, man. I don't know if I could make it without a Willie live stream once in a while. We need to do that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
From an undisclosed bunker.
Yes. From an undisclosed. Yeah, that would be funny.
Nice.
Who needs a timeout? Sergeant's waiting to time someone out.
I
Sergeant.
already did my timeout for the night. My only timeout for the night.
Yeah.
Yes,
hey, DV,
and,
Storms is in the Discord, man. Just come in the Discord. Storms is there.
Who's in our Discord?
Storms. DV was asking if Storms is in our Discord.
She is.
Man, some serious timeouts going on. People that just people don't like to leave the stream. They're like, I'm leaving, just time me out, It's becoming a thing now.
Because if they don't, it's like me. I'll stay on the entire stream, and I'm like, dude, I really need that.
Yeah.
Somebody time me out.
Well, look at that. Cody Bear's asking you to time him out. Well, anyway, we got to blow this planet up. Someone blow it up. Someone blow it up.
Always do the double tap. Rule number whatever, zombie apocalypse.
Yeah. This very round planet, which I believe is hollow, is about ready to go.
Oh, there it is.
3, 2, 1, boom. Bye-bye.